Welcome to Welcome to Chat with Faju. Today we are doing, as you can see in the title, Anthony's Book Club, Book 1, Star Wars Allegiances, and with me is, of course, Anthony.
Hello.
That is a very appropriate mug.
Yep. The other side is join us or die.
So before we get into it, a bit of preamble. So you've recently started reading books, correct?
I recently started reading books for the enjoyment of reading books. I think the last time I did this was back in about a decade ago.
And I have loaned you a few books, and more on the mail to you. But I personally have different headcanon for Star Wars than most people. My headcanon includes episodes 4 and 5, and the 2 books you have, and that's about it.
Well, again, I only have one of the 2 books now that you're mentioning, because the other one has been returned and mailed back to you. If not, I would have used it as a prop.
So what is Star Wars Allegiance?
So it is, in my opinion, the Allegiances is 4 different stories. Well, maybe even more than 4, but they all end up intersecting for the conclusion. And again, without spoiling, this novel's how old? I guess maybe we'll indicate spoiler warning. But for me, I had never assumed Chord was actually involved with anything. But everyone kind of haphazardly ends up gaining to that conclusion without having all of the cards. Even by the end, people have missing information.
I guess I should have started with this. Did you enjoy the book?
Yeah, I did. It's what hasn't been my favorite read, as I've told you. That's The Assassin's Apprentice. However, Allegiance is definitely probably my second or third favorite read so far.
That could change considering you are just starting to read.
Well, true enough, but I still expect it to remain in the cream of the crop of books. It's a very well done book. For me, it actually took me a little bit of time to get used to the jumping around from parties to parties, because again, you have the Hand of Judgment as one narrative, you have Han and Luke and Chewie as a second, you have Leia and the Rebel Alliance as a third, you have Mara Jade by herself as a fourth, you have the viewpoint of certain Imperials as a fifth, and then you have the underworld as the sixth.
So you mentioned the Hand of Justice. I bet you a lot of people who know Star Wars don't know who the Hand of Judgment is.
I had absolutely no clue where until reading this book as well. And again, I am ashamed that it took me this long to get to this book, because again, the Hand of Judgment is excellent. You start off with Larone, it's Larone. So Larone, he's the instigator of the Hand of Judgment. He is the one that refuses to fire. He is the one that shoots who shoots the ISB officer in charge, and then he is the one that ends up being forced into the leadership role after Marcos absconds from, or I don't want to say absconds, but he's the one that, I'll say absconds or decides to take himself out of consideration for the leadership role of the Hand of Judgment. But again, you end up finding out why he does that later. Um, you have Brightwater, who's your typical scout. You have Graves, who's your sniper, and then and Quiller, of course, the pilot.
Speaking of those characters, I got a question for you that I probably should have prepped questions for you beforehand, but I didn't. Anyways, what do you think about using their last names as the character names?
I'm used to that, because again, it is a military, and I would much prefer use their last names as opposed to referring to them by their stormtrooper number, which would have been, the technical proper name to be used, but I will take their surname as opposed to their surnames. Although looking at the characters' first names, I'm glad I'm using. I actually think their surnames are actually easier than their given names.
So, there's a lot of different characters. Some that we know, like you, Han. So, who's your favorite characters in the book, or do you have a favorite character or top three?
So I think it's going to be the Hand of Judgment, but I'll specifically choose Larone, but also Marcos. Marcos, and again, this is now, I guess, where I'm going to say spoiler. You end up finding out that he is Governor Chord's nephew, and so that is why he took himself out of that leadership role, was because he knew that he would have a bias towards his own family, and could not believe that his own family could be so corrupt. Although the evidence to him had pointed in that direction, unless someone was using Chord's dedicated communication lines, which again you don't find out until the end. He's the only one that has that card or that piece of knowledge, and he keeps it right to the last minute.
Would you say that the plot of this book is four different stories, all about corruption in the Star Wars Empire?
Of course, that's what this is. It's about how when government gets too big and too controlling, that it definitely breeds opportunities for corruption. It starts off with the ISB. No one trusts the ISB. Hell, Mara Jade doesn't trust the ISB, and she's the Emperor's hand, the Emperor's actual hand, not the Hand of Judgment. Which again, she definitely does scold them at the end of the novel for using. She's like, "I'm the only hand." um, but yeah, so you get that. You see the corruption within the intelligence services. You see the corruption with the governor. The fact that he's willing to, hire people from the underworld. You also start with Mara Jade's story, where it is a story of another governor who is hoarding wealth. Oh, and then you also have um, governor. Oh, not governor. You also have. Oh, did we lose the juke? I'll just wait for Fijuk. There we go. So what was the question? I kind of drifted off after I saw you like pop off the screen. Oh, the corruption question. So yeah, so with the ISB, which I believe you were here to hear my answer for, then Chord, you also have Mara Jade's initial story where um, Mara Jade is actually investigating another governor who is skimming money or stealing from the empire. Um, and then, with the Hand of Judgment, they find uh, again other evidence of corruption within the empire. The fact that, uh, and again, the ones that the Hand of Judgment find is a little smaller. It's the fact that the docking bay fees are being charged exorbitantly to people who are flying in, and anyone who questions being arrested or detained or losing their goods.
So, what did you think of the 4 or 5 scenes between Mara Jade and Vader? Spoilers.
Um, so it was interesting because again, she's youthful, because I believe what she's like 16 years old in the novel, if I'm not mistaken.
Same age as Luke.
Okay, so about 18 then, and you have Vader, who I don't think likes the fact that someone else is getting the Emperor's direct attention that isn't him. Um, he's also, I think, at this point in time, because again, with the library scene, he knows about Luke, so his attention's now being diverted to that. Again, I don't think he's drawn the conclusion that who he is, but he at least has the name. Um, but also, it's just that I think Mara Jade knows how to get under Vader's skin, and also, like with that one battle scene inside, it is aboard the Executor, if I'm not mistaken. Correct? Yeah. Where she just turns off the lights because she knows his helmet won't be able to properly adjust to seeing people in the dark if she has her lightsaber ignited and floating somewhere else where she is not.
That is a trick only a few people would realize is possible.
Yeah. Well, again, she has intimate knowledge of Vader and how to get under his skin. I don't know if it's because the Emperor has told her about him, or if it's just the fact that she's had this many other interactions with him that we're just not privy to.
One of the things, the Empire is the bad guy in Star Wars. Don't get that wrong. But you're not supposed to root for the Empire. That doesn't mean the Empire doesn't have good people in it.
Well, that's it, and I think that's what the story also tries to convey, that these the Hand of Judgment, even though they're part of the Imperial machine, they themselves are good people who believe in law and order. They just don't believe in the way that the Empire is going about it. Um, Also, I know that there are other books. I don't know if they're part of the canon or legends, um, but they show that after the Imperial Galactic Empire collapsing, that there is a lot of hardship to a lot of planets. The rebellion isn't able to continue some of the programs that the Galactic Empire had operated. So for some people, the Empire is the better of the two options. I'm not saying that, treating some people good and treating a majority of the people bad is, or being human centric is a good thing. No, I'm just saying that for certain individuals, there was a benefit to keeping the empire intact. Um, Even like I just finished Shadowfall, and again, that has a little bit of this story about the people who are they know the Empire is, and again, this is a canon novel, a current Disney canon novel, um, where the people who are part of the Empire truly believe truly believe in it, or that they know that the Empire is falling apart, but can't just let it go for whatever reason, if it's revenge or if it's just their personal beliefs.
So why is it alone your favorite character in this story of corruption?
Because again, I think he's not a magical person. He's just a regular trooper. Um, when forced with forced with the obstacle or hard decision of shooting innocent civilians after the people who belonged to the rebel network had escaped, he he takes the moral high ground, or the moral choice, to not shoot at these people, um, even though he knows it might mean that he's going to get reprimanded. um, I think, again, throughout the story, he's because he's forced in that leadership role, he's the one that's ultimately making the decisions about them trying to do their best, even though they end up in their first activity helping out the Rebel Alliance inadvertently.
They don't have the knowledge. This story, is about corruption, but this story is also about how you can make the wrong decision. You can make the right decision knowing the wrong information, the wrong decision knowing the right information, and everything in between.
Yep, completely agree. Because again, it is like when they see Mara Jade, and then they're like, "Oh shit, that must be the rebel friend that Luke and Han are looking for. Oh crap, she's a Jedi."
Um, so we went. So out of the rebels, who's your favorite character and why?
Oh, the rebels. Um, so the rebels, I find in this novel, don't play as much of a role, because again, I feel like this is a very Imperial centric novel. I I actually have to say the best rebel is a non-rebel, and that is Han, because he has not committed to the cause yet. He has made that abundantly clear. Even when he's speaking to Leia, he wants Leia to go, "Can you join the Alliance?" Instead, she goes, "Join the Alliance because Chewbacca wants to join the Alliance, not because I want you to join the Alliance." But I think he understands that underworld, and again, because he did have some Imperial training, he is able to pick up that, oh shit, like these are Imperial, these are Imperial troopers. These are not just some vigilantes out for justice.
Hello, Crepsy. So you know who my favorite character is?
Yep,
Tanis. And
yep.
you said there's a storyline that follows the underground people. Do you have a favorite character of the
So
underground?
yeah, so I like Tanis's development, because for him it was challenging for me to figure out what his motivations for doing what things were, uh, because again, he decides that he wants to join Mara Jade, or at the end, I believe he actually did believe in her cause, or believe that she would actually uphold her bargain and let him free. Again, I think you and I have had this conversation um, where I wasn't sure if he was the one that divulged Mara's identity. I can't remember the guy's name, but the older individual on at the criminal base.
The Commodore?
Yeah, the Commodore. I wasn't sure if Tanis had divulged, but you are of the opinion that no, he stayed true, and it wasn't Tanis that had divulged the information, and that it was what's his name? That it was. And again, I apologize for not having all the names off the top of my head. The guy who rode the ATST starts with the C as well. It's a lot of C people.
The guy who I kept calling Chord.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure if I press Control.
Catsaran.
Pardon me?
No.
No, you kept on calling Catsaran. Or no, Catsaran is the one. Is it Catsaran? Mm-hmm.
Well, you're looking that up.
Yep. Oh, Caldra. Caldra.
Yes, there's a lot of. You don't get a point of view chapter from Caldra or Tanis, which means you don't fully understand the motivations. But
I think Caldra's is pretty obvious. It's power and money, and maybe a little bit of chaos.
I do enjoy how Caldra is very much a very intelligent person, much like Boba Fett.
Yep.
He knows how to fight people that are more powerful than him using, as he says, water or fire. So, do you recommend this book?
Yeah, I definitely have recommended this book. I've even tried to convince people who don't read Star Wars to read this book. Again, you could think of it as any army machine. Again, there's intrigue. There's people who, the different people have different pieces of knowledge. So even if you don't care about the Star Wars environment, you do. Again, you can understand what a stormtrooper is, just an ordinary soldier. So if you can explain it at that concept that these are 4 soldiers that have been dismayed by their government, that they are going to bring about vigilante justice. And then you include a bit of Mara Jade, who's has a bit of mystical powers. It's definitely a very good and interesting read. I would definitely recommend it. Again, for me, I think I gave it like a 4.8 on 5. Again, like I said, it's just because again it took me a little bit of time to get into the story with the changing perspectives. But no, I definitely love the book and would definitely recommend it to anyone who wants to read.
I will. Everyone that's watching, thank you for watching, whether you're watching live or after this video has been posted. Shout out to KSBK, who was in the chat, and we'll see you in the next video.
Yep. And read Bread Knives and no, it's Brigands and Bread Knives. That is a hilarious novel that I'm finishing up.
Now everyone comes in and says hi right as I'm ending the stream.
That's the way it works.